got mail. Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computer Stuka now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Katie.
Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
alive. I was
Gal
sick
is
for a
here.
while.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Nick is here.
I'm also alive.
And
Fun fact.
Spence is here.
I have a pulse.
Good job, everybody.
Everybody's here.
We did it.
The gang is back together.
We stayed alive.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computer Stuka Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. And you were introduced to the latest intro that Katie created.
Yeah, finally updated the old intro, y'all. Hope you like it. And if you don't, too bad. Your opinion doesn't matter.
Now, I think we have a customer side issue.
So,
So anybody has any comments about it?
It's all right.
excuse me. Gotta find out where you live.
Oh.
Do threatening
I'm pretty
things.
sure I've told you where I've lived. I've offered to. You've offered. You've
Yeah,
talked
but-
about visiting.
Well, that requires driving to Wilmington, and that's.
Oh.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, believe me, I did 6.5 hours last weekend out to Maggie Valley, North Carolina. So
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Maggie Valley's a nice place.
It is. It's just a long ass drive. Jeez.
It is. Did you make it to Cherokee?
We did not make it to Cherokee. I really wanted to go gamble my money away, but
Yeah.
was unsuccessful in my bid
It's
to
an
make it
interesting
to Cherokee.
town.
How much did
It
you
was
lose?
nice. It was
Like Vegas.
snowing. I was sitting in a hot tub. It was a very nice experience in the mountains. It felt like home.
Well, good.
All right.
That's why I wasn't here last week.
That's fine. It is very, very fine. So, what else happened with you guys? Gal, you went to New York.
Yes, I went to the sales kickoff of the company that I work for, Baronis. Was a huge event. This is the first time we've been back in person. The last time was a meeting in Florida in 2020, in January of 2020, just before the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they were all virtual. There was that 1 year that I didn't work for them. Now I'm back. The event more than doubled in size.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing.
Where did they hold
Yeah.
it? Where did they hold it?
The only hotel that would give out enough rooms, that's the Hilton Midtown in Manhattan.
I stayed there.
Yeah. It's the largest hotel in Manhattan, and that's the only one who had enough rooms and a convention center.
That's the one that's across the street from Penn Station?
No, that's across the street of Rockefeller Center.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. So got to see, took some days off, spent the time with Mati over CT, saw some shows, enjoyed the time.
Did you see the Rockettes?
No, we didn't see the Rockettes, but we saw Wicked, which we haven't seen before. So
yeah.
finally, so seeing it in
Yeah, it's
Broadway,
good.
this was,
Broadway is great.
yeah.
I've seen it on Broadway.
And we saw a new show called Six. It wasn't bad. It was okay. It was good.
I've never been in New York other than the airport.
You're not missing much.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. If you've never been in a large city, yeah, it's an experience.
Oh, well, my family's
Yeah.
from Chicago, so I've been to a large city, but I don't know if it compares to New York. I
Yeah,
went
that's a
to
good
Maine
question.
for
I
the
don't know.
holiday seasons, and it was actually really warm there. I was surprised.
Yeah, New
So-
York is fun. Register for Comic-Con.
God, that I don't even know. That would be so intense.
I think they do that at the Javid Center. Like that's where Comic Con is.
It would be amazing. I know it would be a lot of fun, but it would be so much work.
I bet you.
Yeah.
I bet you the booths. I bet you'd have to drop at least a couple grand for a booth.
Oh yeah,
Probably,
easy.
yeah.
I bet you
What's-
the vendors are like around 10 grand.
Yeah.
I want
that
to
would
throw
be-
something out there. Why don't we have we can have it here in Raleigh. We can have the Computers 2K Con.
It's a great idea.
We could have it at, there's a Holiday Inn. We can go. It's got like a room for breakfast. We can use
Now, how
that.
about a Claremont? A Holiday might be a little bit above our, a little bit above
Yeah.
our grade.
No, sleep in.
You know
a
what?
Super 8.
I found out that to rent the what is it, Graham building? I don't know. There's a building at the fair where they have a lot of events. It's only $4,000 and it's like, I don't know, 10,000 square feet or whatever it is. No, it's more than that. But
So normally with those, it's like it's relatively cheap to rent the facility, but then you have to use them for all of the things that you're doing, and that's when it balloons. Like if you're going to bring in food, you got to use their vendors. And if you're doing power and all that stuff, you need their vendors. There's security. It's kind of a racket.
I see.
And maybe it's not, but I mean that's typically why you're like, holy crap, only $4,000, and it's like,
it's a
yeah, but it's
racket.
15 when you're done with.
Oh, you
15
want to
to
plug
20.
in your light in the booth? You need an electrician to come in, and it's $100.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
well,
stuff.
that's why it's really funny. I don't ever pay for the electricity and internet at cons, but it's usually there. So
Yeah.
or maybe I just lucked out.
I had them confiscate my wireless router at a show.
Wow.
Literally came to the booth, opened the cabinet because they had master keys, and took it. And I'm like,
Oh,
I got there. I was like, oh, my booth got robbed. And it took a while for me to find out, well, you were violating the policy. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, you're not using our Wi-Fi. I said, I have to connect my individual demo on its own Wi-Fi. Well, you didn't tell us that.
I got my Wi-Fi router confiscated in high school. I set up a little ad hoc network in high school, and that got confiscated. That was a good one.
You set it up with a connection to the administrative office.
No, I set it up so that when I had my free period in the cafeteria, that I could actually use decent Wi-Fi because the Wi-Fi sucked in there. So I set it up. Me and all my friends used it. Turns out it identified pretty heavily with their setup. Whoopsie. Property of Nick Craig on the router was a bad idea. Nevertheless, everybody liked me, so it worked out.
Everybody likes you.
Well, not anymore.
Ah, yes, they do.
Yeah, don't listen to my show. You'll hear
He's gone dark.
Oh, I tell you what, I got a tattoo last weekend.
What?
Yeah,
Ooh.
it was my first tattoo. My sister's all tatted. She's got like a full sleeve almost. And so for years I was like, oh, I really want a tattoo, but I don't do pain really well, and so I've been like really scared. But at the con I was at last weekend, they had a tattoo alley, so it was just a big area that a bunch of tattooists were there, and I walked up and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. So I got a tattoo on my leg of a soot sprite from Spirited Away. If anybody's
Ooh,
familiar with
Spirit
that
Away's a
movie.
great one.
Yeah. I would hold my leg up, but I don't want to do that. It sounds weird. So you
I
guys
thought you were going to
just
say you got the C2K logo or something tattooed.
No, you guys are gonna have to pay me big bucks to do that.
There's no we in that. That'd be one person that would do that, and that would be our leader.
Yeah. But anyways, I did it and I really love it. And so now I'm like, yes, okay, got past my fear.
Well,
This is going to open the floodgates, and next thing we know, it's going to be.
Dude, I would love a full sleeve.
Dude, I'd love a full sleeve, dude.
Totally. Red. I mean, I'm an artist. I like art. So I get jealous when I see people and they have like wicked cool tattoos, and I'm just like, oh, I wasn't a wuss.
I have full sleeve slip on.
Oh yeah, did you get them off of
tattoos, yeah,
Amazon?
yeah.
You just put the sleeves.
Oh, I've had it for years. I used to wear it to parties and stuff.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I've seen some people with those.
You wear it to
Yeah, I
shady
got-
bars on the other side of town.
I got I don't know if I went on the show with it, but I got a shirt that's literally like photorealistic. Has a biker's
Vest?
jacket, like
Uh-huh.
leather jacket and all that, and the sleeves are basically it's like a fabric uh, that meshes so well, and it looks like a tattooed sleeve. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
can
need to
always
wear
do that.
that to a biker bar and see what they think of it, Carl.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think they will actually admire it, right? It's like
Nah, I don't know about all
you're
that.
coming up close, you look like intimidating, and then you come in and you see, oh, it's just a nerd with a shirt. That's cool.
Oh, no, he's appropriating us. Let's get him.
Yeah.
Let's follow him back to his
Yeah,
his Toyota Corolla.
you let me know how
yeah,
that
yeah,
goes.
exactly. Let's put it this way. They will allow me to buy them a beer.
oh,
Well, sure. I mean, sure.
All right, so there was a CES this past week, huh?
Yeah, I saw that.
A
Yeah.
what?
And
computer electronics show.
Consumer electronics.
Consumer electronics show.
Yeah.
The big one.
Used to be, yeah.
Yeah, it's not so attended anymore, and some of the stuff is really weird.
What state is it on?
It's in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
It's at the convention center in Vegas.
yeah.
I think they're down to just 1 or 2 halls for CES now. I mean, it used to be that whole complex out there, whatever the name of that convention center is, and I think they're only down to 1 or 2 of the main halls now.
Sands, is it? I'm
I
not
don't
sure
remember
which
what
one it
it's
was.
called,
Yeah.
but because I know that I went to NAB a couple of years, the National Association of Broadcasters conference, and they had scaled down pretty heavily. They were the one big room and then one kind of small, say small, it was still massive, but one smaller auxiliary room in comparison to the whole complex like it's been. Cons are, this was a couple weeks ago. I don't know if Gal or Katie saw this, but E3 announced that they're done. They've given
Yeah.
up on doing the big video game conference that they've done out in LA for 20 some odd years.
I think that
That's
doesn't
Oh, we
gone.
talked
surprise me
about it.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I've
we
heard
talked
for
about them delaying
years-
it and announcing they weren't going to do it for like this next year or something. But then they came out in the last 2 weeks and said it's done. There's no it's that they've kind of sunsetted the physical show,
I
which
was
kind of
under
sucks.
the impression that it was already canceled. Maybe that was all the things that they were talking about.
It was they were canceling it. They canceled it. Obviously they didn't have it because of COVID. Then they did it virtually last year. Talked about doing it this year, canceled this year, and then canceled it outright a couple weeks ago. So it will not be coming back.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think this is part of the reason they canceled is that it's the same way kind of with the streaming networks and cable where like everybody started to do their own thing and they had control over it. Like look at BlizzCon and they do their own one, and like I know Nintendo started doing launches and stuff online, like they'll stream their things. So I think a lot of the companies decided to stream their own stuff and probably save a lot of money because I know the companies going to these booths probably drop like easy like $250,000 for their huge booth, and like they have to pay because it's expensive. So if they could just do it at their own headquarters and stream it, I could see.
Oh, some of
Yeah,
these
but the
guys aren't
thing
getting.
is,
Go ahead, go.
I mean, you're right, but one of the things that's getting lost are the indie crowd.
Yeah.
Right? They no longer have a place next to the big guys to show their stuff.
Well, E3 is not the only one though, because I went
Yeah.
to East Coast, what was it called? East Coast Gaming Conference, and that was like a huge indie crowd there. So it's like these smaller cons are, I say smaller, they're still big cons, but they're not like huge E3 across the country kind of vibes, which maybe is better for indie because if it's a smaller crowd, then that's like their target audience. It's a little more personal, individual.
Yeah,
that-
E3 never really had a big indie scene. It was just too expensive, and they kind of gate kept it a little bit. PAX is the show where some of the bigger guys, some of the more medium to large guys are there, right next to the the husband and wife game dev team that live somewhere in the Midwest that are doing their thing. So PAX is still going on, which is great.
Interesting.
But Katie, you talked about the cost. I mean, you're talking about 250 would be cheap. I mean, these some of these big companies, they're dropping millions of dollars by the time you get your booth shipped there,
Yeah,
build
it's
it, pay your
crazy.
staff, get everybody to get everybody hotels and meals. I mean, you're in for $1 million for one of these shows. Um, and what are you really getting out of it? Like you noted, Nintendo's been doing their Nintendo Directs for the last decade, and those have been incredibly popular. And it's just essentially a white background, and they just announce their stuff. It's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's also it's Katie. I mean, as far as the indie and the big guys, it's just like a mall. A mall is not going to be successful if they don't have a few of the big stores
Yeah,
because
well, then
that's
that's what
what
happened with
drove
E3.
they drove
Microsoft is
people.
out.
Yeah. Huh?
EA is Microsoft is out. Sony is out. Nintendo is out. EA is out. So the only people that were left were
Yeah.
Square Enix and Ubisoft, which are yes are very large companies, but they don't hold a
Right.
candle to some of these other guys. So
Well,
that
also
kind of
too,
sad.
that you just listed a bunch of companies that would have dropped millions of dollars.
Yeah,
So to go from like I don't know 10 million down to just one, they're like this isn't worth it.
yeah. So I mean, it sucks because I've gone to PAX, been to PAX East in Boston, been to PAX West out in Seattle, and they're really cool to go to. Obviously Katie knows this. These cons are fun to go to, but they're the business model of them is just not with Etsy and some of these other things that are very popular. It begs the question, why would I, pack up, drive 2 hours to a place to buy a gaming mat, Katie, when I can go on your Etsy store and buy something that I want right now, or go on Facebook Marketplace and find somebody in my area that is 3D printing dice towers or whatever it is for a pretty cheap price.
Mm,
It's kind of an odd situation.
yeah.
Well, so CES, it says the article goes PC and microchip companies struggling to get consumers to replace pandemic era laptops offered a new feature to crowds this week at CES AI.
Wow.
PC and chip makers, including AMD and Intel, are betting that the so called neural processing units now found in the latest chip designs will encourage consumers to once again pay for higher end laptops. Adding additional AI capabilities could help take market share from Apple. And by the way, Intel passed Apple last week. I mean, in the stocks and stuff, who's worth more.
Intel or Microsoft?
Oh, that's right, Microsoft. I'm sorry. I'm
Microsoft.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not Intel.
So the conversation that they were having with customers there are about how do I get my PC ready for what I think is coming in AI and going to be able to deliver. This is coming from Dell Technologies president
Michael Dell.
of PC business. Chip makers built the NPU blocks because they can achieve a high level of performance for AI functions with relatively modest power needs. Today, there are few applications that might take full advantage of the new capabilities, but more are coming. This says David McAfee, corporate vice president at client channels,
Corporate vice
AMD.
president of marketing.
And general manager of the
Don't
client's
believe
channel,
him.
business of AMD. No, I mean it's they're really trying. I mean, look, what do
No,
you
I mean,
get today? What do you get
I'm
today?
saying their assessment of what's coming is exactly that, an assessment.
Yeah,
And they're saying things that are going to favor them selling these machines. So
the thing is, what do you get today when you why do you need to buy a high end PC? And forget about gaming and things like that.
Don't forget about
don't.
gaming. It's a
No,
$200
no.
billion
No,
industry.
no. I'm saying forget about gaming
Outside
because
of gaming.
that's a given. Yeah.
Sure.
And
Outside of gaming,
yeah, I
for
mean, it's what
look at what Katie's doing. You're not
Ri-
you're not doing
right.
that on a
Okay, let's not
art
let's not
graphic.
count. I'm talking about the lay person.
Well,
Me
no,
and
the
you
layperson's
going
never
to
needed
buy.
it.
Well,
No,
here.
you
Well,
buy.
they might. Hold on a second. They might because of if they've cut the cable and they're doing streaming. Yes, streaming is not super intensive, but I'm thinking about people that have bought those like $100 computers that after a couple of years they're just like almost useless. So, if I feel like applications they just keep making them more bloated, so that it slows down computers. I mean, my mom's computer she doesn't do anything crazy on it. Like she just has Excel, Quicken, and all that stuff. And within 2 years, you barely can run her computer. It's so slow.
Let me ask about your mom's computer.
Yeah.
How much RAM does it have, and does it have an SSD?
No, both of those questions. No, it doesn't have SSD, and yes, it's low. But the argument is, why would somebody need a
That's
better computer?
that's
Like right
but
there.
that's the
Oh,
thing. That's all you need to do on your mom's computer. You do not need a beefier computer.
No, I know,
That is exactly it.
but what I'm saying is that those softwares, those programs have become bloated to where she can't. It's not
It's not
running
that.
at the same.
It's not that. It's literally not that. I'm talking from experience. You take an old i3, right? As long as it's Windows 11 compatible. So we're talking about something from the past 6, 7 years. Okay. You take that, you give it enough RAM. And RAM for those machines today isn't too expensive either. It's still in the cheap. Uh, and you replace the drive with an SSD, that machine will run for another 3 to 4 years. And I think that's what they're talking about. They cannot get people to actually buy new machines. And the new push is you want your computer to do AI properly, right? Then this is where you'll need to spend a bit of the more bucks on the machine itself.
Very
Uh,
interesting because this represents a there's a pendulum that swings back and forth in the IT industry, going way back to the original computer terminals, where smart client, dumb client, right?
mhm.
yeah,
You had thin clients that all they needed to do was boot up and everything would be downloaded, and then you have fat clients that run everything independently, so you don't have to be connected to anything. This is really interesting because this is probably the since I've been in the computer industry since late '70s and saw this change go back and forth, thin client, thick client, and we're in it again.
yep.
So
And they're
I see the
thinking
same thing. Yeah.
that by like engineering it or trying to sell it to people with the thinking of, hey, AI, you need people will start buying these, and that it's a good marketing thing. Um, of course, people can now use AI on their phone to a point,
Well,
to a point, to a point.
no, they're using it in the cloud through their
Yeah.
phone. And I think that is going to be the major way that it's going to continue to be used.
Uh,
Uh, Unfortunately, right? Because most people, the tech of running something locally doesn't really interest them anymore.
well, talking
I mean,
about
our crowd is interested in it, right? Our audience, but outside of our audience, try to convince somebody to run their own server and at home, right? It's
I remember
that's where we lose a lot of people.
just before I left the industry, I mean, it was 10 years ago. The big thing was SaaS, software as a service, CAS,
Right.
communications as a service, everything as a service that was all cloud based. And I
And
don't
it's
think
still
that'll
that
ever go
way.
away. Yeah. And I remember the big thing for us, because we were an infrastructure company, was selling a pipe that would be able to do all this stuff. and having the infrastructure in place that you weren't sitting there waiting for the stuff to happen. Microsoft is fully on board with this. I mean, it's all about licensing and subscriptions to the cloud.
Right.
So, I mean,
So
that's not,
there's
yeah.
so the huge manufacturers, right? Like Intel, they are definitely benefiting from the move to SaaS because a Microsoft that wants to sell software, they want to sell software as a service, and that means they're going to need a data center to manage all that in behind. But but the companies like the ones Amnon used to run, right? Where dealing directly with the hardware, that's becoming something that only the big guys are doing, right? In the background. There are very few small players. And even those small players, they usually what they do is they buy a bunch of old hardware and they run something really on the cheap just to try and, edge into the market. But like competing with an Azure, competing with AWS, that's uh, that's really really hard. You need a lot of cash to go in there.
No? Talking about people are not interested in doing it locally and they're doing it on cloud. I felt kind of dumb yesterday. My doctor called and wanted me to come to the office. His wife can't print from her laptop. Okay. So I said it must be something real simple. So I'm there and laptop opens up and I'm trying to print and I don't see the printer, first of all. But I do see it if I click the down arrow, it's there. So I says, okay, I just need to uh, set it up as the default one. And I can't find the start button. Long story short, it's not a Windows machine, it's a Chromebook. I've never had my hands on one. And I'm looking and looking for where's the start button? Dang it. But as it turned out, we couldn't do anything there because, yeah, it requires internet for everything that you do.
Not
And
only that, Google has discontinued their cloud printing protocol. That's probably a
oh,
couple of years ago.
yeah, but she's connected with USB directly to the
Okay.
printer. Yeah, and it was we couldn't use the internet over there, and she didn't have the printer. So I said, just call me. She's going to call this afternoon, and I'm going to try and help her. But this was really, really strange. I mean, it look it looks like any screen that you're used to, but
You know
even
how I
when you click that launcher, it looks like the Windows 11. I say, okay, so it's Windows 11. But then I look and I saw the name at the bottom. I said, oh, okay, that's a Chromebook. Never mind.
the way I've gotten around this, and I don't know if this is the right solution, but it works for me,
Yeah.
is that I would write or do whatever I'm gonna do on my Chromebook, and then from my phone, I would download the Google Drive app on my phone and then print it from my phone because my phone can connect to my printer.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, she doesn't have that problem because she's, like I said, she's USB directly from the
Uh,
computer to from the laptop to the.
yeah, to go down on your knees to get to your elbows, but we get there
But the
eventually.
thing is, she didn't know that she can choose that printer. It defaulted to save as PDF. I don't know if it defaults to that because there's no printer attached at that point, but I'll
I
have.
think it does
It's
that.
probably
It does that on mine when it loses connection to my printer one time and it remembers your last thing.
Okay.
So it
Oh,
defaults to
right. It's
that.
probably a mix of remembering the last thing and
yeah, we'll see this afternoon. I don't know. Um, Nick, so did you want to talk about something there on the best of
You're
CES?
muted.
Oh, he's busy.
We can't hear you.
Oh, it would help if I muted
Oh,
myself.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's nothing in there that was all that
okay.
amazing.
All
We'll,
right.
we'll see if we can get if we get to it at the end. If we got
Okay,
some
that's
time, we can
fine. All right,
make a
that,
glance.
that's okay. Um, I have a real interesting problem here with the production machine.
Okay.
Last week, I had a problem that the Stream Deck didn't work.
Yeah, I've
Did,
had that problem too.
and how did you fix it?
Uh, closed the Stream Deck software and reopened it.
Oh, I tried all that kind of stuff and redo everything. The only thing that fixed it, it was plugged into a USB 1 hub and plugging it into another USB here that was 3. Oh, everything working. So I got another USB 3 and replaced it where that USB 1 was, and it worked, and it's working. Now, this week, last night I start the machine and it is beeping back and forth and says the last USB that you plugged in is not recognizable. Is not recognized. And I went through everything. I sat down at the bottom on the PC and unplugged each USB. None of them generated this. And I have no idea what's doing it. Everything is working. There's nothing
Well,
that stopped working.
you do have probably some USB hubs and some USB extension
I
cables,
I,
right?
I looked at all of them. Yeah, that's what I'm
But
saying.
it's probably one of those that is right on the fringe of
Well,
working, and Windows is just kind of jumping back and forth with it.
yeah, and I'll need. I'm gonna replace the one because I've got one over there that's USB 2, and I'm gonna replace it, but nothing is plugged into it. It was just weird that the uh, Stream Deck will work on USB 3, but will not work on USB 1, or maybe it was a USB 2. I can't remember.
Yeah, there's no USB 1 on your
Yeah,
computer.
USB 2. It's not on the computer. It's a hub.
Well,
It's
part of the issue.
extension cord that goes to a hub.
Well, that right there can create some problems.
Yeah, yeah. But putting a USB 3 now, everything is working great so far.
Yeah, you could have been just on the fringe of connectivity with USB.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyway, um, those of you with iPhones,
Mm.
security researchers warned Apple as early as 2019 about vulnerabilities in its AirDrop wireless sharing function that Chinese authorities claim they recently used to track down users of the feature. The researcher told CNN, in a case that experts say has sweeping implications for global privacy. The Chinese government's action targeting a tool that Apple customers around the world use to share photos and documents, and Apple apparent inaction to address the flaws, revive long-standing concern by U.S. lawmakers and privacy advocates about Apple's relationship with China and about authoritarian regimes' ability to twist U.S. tech products to their own ends. So AirDrops lets Apple users who are near each other share files using a proprietary mix of Bluetooth and other wireless connectivity without having to connect to the internet. The sharing feature has been used by pro democracy activists in Hong Kong, and the Chinese government has cracked down on the feature in response. A Chinese tech firm was able to compromise AirDrop to identify users on the Beijing subway accused of sharing inappropriate information judicial authorities in Beijing said this week. Inappropriate, if you talk against or you exchange documents that have something about the government or whatever. The point is, I can see what you are exchanging with other people. And Apple apparently didn't do anything about it. They knew about it since 2019. That's bad.
Um,
And I don't know how I don't know how that thing works.
it's I don't think it's as bad as it's
Look,
claiming it is. It's just been used in a bad way. But if you have sharing open,
yeah,
right, then you're exposed to anybody that's in your vicinity.
anybody can. I mean, you
No,
don't
I mean
have to give
you
them.
have you call your phone free democracy and
Yeah.
you're looking for connecting to your Bluetooth earpiece, right? And so it broadcasts its name. It's something similar to that. The whole idea about sharing is, hey, I want to share a file named blah blah blah,
Mhm.
right? uh who's around to accept it? And so the other phones, the other devices that are now listening for something, they'll see something something Gal's phone is sharing blah blah blah, right? That's all that's described
So
here.
so you
So
as you walk down the street, you're broadcasting it to whoever is near you?
let me
When
explain.
you're
Hold on.
sharing,
Hold
yeah,
on.
go
Hold on.
go ahead, Nick. Show,
There's some things with AirDrop. You have a couple of options with AirDrop. You can have AirDrop on, like what Gal's describing and you're describing. Anybody and everybody can see Nick's iPhone. You
Okay.
can have AirDrop on for contacts only, meaning so that if Gal and I are hanging out and he wants to send me Gal and I are spending some time together. He takes some pictures of the group, and I want to send them to me. He's a contact in my phone. He can AirDrop it to me, or you can turn AirDrop off completely. Those are the different options that you've got for AirDrop. A lot of people, most people, and I think by default it is set to contacts only. It's hard to
Which makes
tell,
sense.
which makes sense. A lot of people just have it off because they don't want to use it. But most there's very few. I mean, there's very few individuals that just have it wide open. Because now let's be clear with it. You have to accept an AirDrop. It's not like you can just send something to another person's phone. If I want to send something to your phone, Amnon, and you have AirDrop open, you'll see a pop-up that says Nick wants to send you, and it's got a preview of the image or the video that you're sending, and you have to accept it or deny it. You don't have to approve of the AirDrop request.
But at that point, does Nick knows that Amnon received that?
If you accept it, yes, I will get some sort of indication that
Okay.
you accepted it.
Hmm.
But again, we have to be in very close proximity.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I see what you mean.
But the great example of
it's not-
in the times I've used it is you've got a group of people together and somebody takes a group photo and you want to send it around instead of texting 10 people differently, you just airdrop it to the group.
Yeah.
It's very convenient. It's a I don't use it all that often. Um, but it's a nice little technology. And also if you have a Mac and a phone, you can airdrop things to your computer, which is very convenient. So if you've got pictures on your phone and you don't use iCloud or whatever the circumstance might be, you can just drop those right to your computer. It's pretty cool.
Right. So, with all that, right, this is a local broadcasting station, basically,
Yeah.
just done digitally. And yes, it will be able. So after you listening in and you identify who's on this AirDrop uh, network, right? You will also be able to identify whether two endpoints are talking with themselves. So, is this a privacy leak? I mean, yes, but you need to open it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, do you have a way of protecting that? That's not, right?
Yes, you do. I mean,
So,
obviously.
so going and saying this is not fixing a flaw in,
Yeah.
I haven't heard of the solution being proposed, right? It's not like, how can I share openly without sharing openly?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
No,
what I'm hearing.
I see what you mean now. I see what
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
I'm
And
not
that
saying that there isn't a flaw in the
it's
design or anything, but it is about sharing
well,
openly as an alternative to
it's
connecting to the internet.
this is like not having a password on your Wi-Fi, but you want everybody
Right,
to
but
be able
people
to
can
get
see
in.
I'm on my Wi-Fi. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well,
Right? It's like, yeah. So that's
interesting.
it feels like some I mean, I'm the first one who'll say Apple is mistreating its customers, right? But here
No,
it
that's
seems like bad mouthing without any technical context,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
yeah.
All right, let's switch. Let's make, I mean, completely has nothing to do with computers, but it's interesting because it's about EVs. Hertz Rental
Ah, yes.
has announced it's selling off 1/3 of its 20,000 electric vehicles fleet and replacing them with gas-powered vehicles. The reason? It's costing them too much to repair damaged EVs, and their depreciation is hurting the bottom line.
And
Collision,
the cost to keep them charged
well,
is
collision,
outrageous.
no, that's on the, I would think that that's on the renter.
No, they got to store it in the parking lot. It's got to
Well,
be
yeah,
ready to go charged.
okay, so
They can't
collision,
set it aside and wait for somebody to come and rent it. They have to keep it actively charged. Full topped
here's
off.
their explanation. Collision and damage repairs on an EV can often run about twice that associated with a comparable combustion engine vehicle. This is coming from Hertz CEO. And EV price declines in the new car market have
Ah,
pushed down the resale value of Hertz used
that's the
EV rent.
key.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
because they're getting cheaper and they entered it too soon. Okay.
maybe, yeah,
They're sitting on
Yeah,
a lot of
okay.
expensive assets. Yeah.
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 Take a look
So,
at it. There's a great video online about what fire departments have to do with EVs.
That's all the
And
poor
there was a
things.
story about a house the they had two electric cars. One was a hybrid, one was a full electric car. One
Hmm.
of them caught fire in the garage. So the fire department had to come and they had to get special equipment in there.
Yeah,
They had to get trucks to take it away. There's a special blanket that they wrap the car in because they can't put it out with water if it's burning.
Right.
They have to smother the fire. And even then, they have to load it onto the back of special flatbeds and then have a police escort to take it to um, the center
junkyard.
that can deal with it. So it's crazy. It's absolutely
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. It
so
is.
this is interesting as they sell. So I actually covered this on my show Friday.
Hmm.
Um, they're selling off their oldest inventory first, obviously. So they've got their 2021 Tesla Model 3s that they're selling for 20 grand. Um,
Sweet.
but you can also get that $4,000 federal tax credit.
For
So
used.
you can pick up one of these cars for 16K, which is a good deal. However, it's a vehicle from 2021 that likely has, it was likely what do they say about horses? Rode hard and put away wet.
Yeah.
The batteries are, you're probably going to be pretty close to having to do a full battery replacement, which could run you upwards of $10,000 to $20,000. So you might, if
Well,
you,
there are refurbished batteries, so
there are,
you can try that route. But yeah,
you
I
can.
mean
Yeah, it
that's
depends on
16K for a car though. I mean, for a Tesla 2021 model, depending on what mileage. I mean, the ones that I see on their website here, 84, 90,000 miles, which isn't a lot mileage wise, but because these are rentals, I would assume that they are not going through your traditional battery cycles like it would be if you or I owned it and were driving it every day. Um, so it's interesting that they're on sale like that. and you can pick them up.
Some battery packs
Oh.
are they can do a good job of refurbishing them, and some are not. Depends on the stuff that's coming in from China now, unfortunately, which is they're the largest market now. They're the largest manufacturer of electric cars. The stuff that's coming in from China cannot be replaced, the batteries. And the problem that China had was that there was all this government money for people to start manufacturing this stuff. And they did it. And they manufactured that, electric bicycles, all this other stuff. And now nobody bought it. So they've got fields filled with these cars that they don't know what to do with. So they're trying to now to dump them on us. So
Oh, well.
I did seriously look at the Tesla thing.
You did? Oh, you
Yeah.
mean to buy
it's
one
awesome.
of those?
I mean, the acceleration on it is
Well, no, it
unbelievable.
was because
No,
it
the
was
deal.
so cheap.
Yeah.
I say so cheap. Retrospectively, very very cheap. With the I think it's a $4,600 tax credit you can get or something like that.
Did you see the
Um,
Did you see the story where one of the people in the Department of Transportation was writing a blog about a cross country trip and was started out all real positive about it, and it turned out to not be such a great trip because of the scheduling and the distance you get between site and just having to spend days extra to make the trip at the time because of the lack of charging stations and
Mm.
Yeah, well,
other
I
things.
mean, it's right. It's an evolution thing. It's clear that it's going to be a pain before it's going to be the thing, right?
And it will be
But
the thing sooner or
it
later.
will,
Absolutely.
yeah. It for sure, because these are getting cheaper. The cars from other manufacturers are starting to show more and more on the road, right? And yeah, I mean, Tesla is no longer. I don't think it's even considered the lead anymore in terms of what you get for for the money, right? And the competitors are becoming more and more interesting. Whether it's old car manufacturers that are selling EVs today or new players, right? What's the name of the new one? Rivian, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
everybody's
seen
raving that.
I've
So
seen those cars on the road a couple weeks
yeah,
ago, and I was like, "Who is that brand?" Like, I've
Yeah.
never seen it
yeah,
before, and
So
now they're
car
popping
or
up
pickup?
everywhere. It's a pickup truck.
Yeah.
they have a pickup, and I think they have a sedan. I'm
Yeah, it's
not
like
sure.
SUV.
Yeah,
Yeah, Tesla is in trouble because all I've been seeing is in the news is their cars being recalled for their auto drive feature.
That's pretty common. I mean,
uh,
it seems like every day one car manufacturer, whether it's Ford, GM, or Honda, is recalling some 150,000 cars for an
Yeah.
airbag, steering wheel.
Loose
That's
bolts.
yeah,
Yeah.
Boeing with
Yeah.
loose bolts. Um, it's unfortunately pretty common.
I think, and I hope this happens. The battery question, if it's getting better and better all the time, but I remember there was news about research being done in laboratories for batteries that charge very quickly. And because of the nature of the chemistry in a lithium battery, it takes time for it to charge. And you could some depending on the charger, it's much faster. If you're using a 120-volt plug-in at home, it's going to take a long time. But if you have enough amps behind it, you can charge it pretty quickly. But there was a story about technology saying that it could come with literally a flash charged battery that could be charged in 15 seconds just by hitting it with a lot of power, and that they were working on it. They're getting closer and closer to
And
that.
the whole neighborhood goes dark when you do that.
That's it.
Yeah, either
But
that or
that's a
explodes.
good point though, because with all these mandates in different states about going all EV by a certain date, what
Mhm.
they haven't done is upgraded the infrastructure of the power grid. They literally don't have enough. California does not have enough available power
Right.
to charge all of the cars that they mandate. If everybody replaced their car with electric, everybody that drives, there's no way they can possibly charge.
Right.
well, they're also mandating switching to solar, no? So
Even
Yes.
that's
then, but
part
so
of it.
you can't. I'd see I just drove by a solar farm recently that was being put up, and you still. What happens if you get several cloudy days in a row? I mean, it's a great idea, but it does until you can store that
No, it's a
power for long
complex look.
term.
It's a complex problem. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's
Yeah.
not right, but I think it's also clear that we need to rely less on fossil fuel. Fossil fuels are not going away. We are going to keep on using them till the end of the day just because we know how to use them and they're reliable for us, right? But there needs to be alternatives. And that's the thing. I mean, what is the one thing, right? Every conservative, because the conservatives right now are the ones who are pushing back the most against it, right? What is
Mhm.
the one thing a conservative will tell you about any investment is never put all of your eggs in one basket, right? So this is true with energy as well. It needs to be from different sources. And so, I mean, I would love it if the major source would be nuclear.
Oh,
I think that's
absolutely.
the best, right? I think
Yep.
that's the best,
I've been talking about that for years. The Generation 4 stuff is incredible.
right? But most people are just scared of what they do not understand. And it's true for EVs and it's true for anything new, basically.
I
Right?
would,
And
if,
nuclear isn't anything anywhere new, but we're just stuck in some
well, we've had some
old concept.
pretty bad experiences there.
Right. Right.
So,
Yep.
but if I could I would love to have an EV just for local driving. I mean, what do we have?
Same.
Yeah.
It could be a 2-seater
Right.
with a little cargo room in the
Exactly.
back that you could plug in. Oh, I got to run to the store. I got to go here. It'd be good for me when I go to Costco because if it didn't have that much room, I wouldn't buy as much stuff.
You can just get a
But
smart car.
what's that?
Just get a smart car. One of those little
That's it.
buggies.
You mean
Nah,
a dumb buyer car?
Yeah.
there's
I mean, if
nothing
you want something
smart. There's
small.
nothing smart about it. Maybe
About
back in
buying
the
a
day.
smart.
But, yeah.
There's nothing smart about buying a smart. Yeah, that's always true.
All right,
Yeah.
That
Nick,
is
you
such
ready
a
for our
such a scam.
specials? Oh, Nick is not there.
Well,
Oh, by the way,
before Nick takes over,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
gotta
you need-
leave.
yeah.
I'm heading out to the. I'll take the platform for some Israeli politics.
Yeah.
We're going to Chapel Hill. There's a rally to support the families of the 139 still in captivity, that were kidnapped from Israel. If anybody's interested, they can look it up on Google and join.
Who's
join
organizing
the-
this?
It's a bunch of Jewish communities. There's actual families of the families. Some of the families are here. One of the kidnappees is an ex Chapel Hillian.
Okay.
I think that's why it's in Chapel Hill, but I'm not sure if that's the reason.
is it on the campus of the university or just in Chapel Hill?
No, it's not on the campus. It's
Okay, I was going to say that would
it's
be
somewhere in the city.
risky.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's gonna be some presence by
Yeah,
pro-Palestinians
yeah.
at the fringes, but I expect this to be very calm and very
I hope it's good.
respectable. Um, I mean, I just this is something needs to be said somehow. This is not anti-Palestine. Has nothing to do with that. But Hamas did do something atrocious. They kidnapped children, women, men, elderly, young, and these people need to get back home. These are not soldiers of war. These are private citizens. So yeah, so
Yep.
we're going. It has been 100 days. That much time has passed, and yeah, this
All
best
right.
for the occasion. So bye bye everyone.
Thanks
right.
for doing this.
Yeah. Good luck.
Nick, are you ready for specials?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
How about this? You sit down, you get in your car, and this is your display is unable to mount the volume that starts your in-car entertainment system.
They
The
need
unknown
a
volume
Windows
for path.
update.
Yeah, exactly. Thought that was pretty funny. Saw that on Facebook.
Reboot.
Yeah, right.
Have they tried turning it on and off again?
Yeah, maybe not. All right, let's take a look at the specials. We got some pretty cool stuff on here this week. One thing on here that I think Katie was, she probably already has, but nevertheless. All right, let's get started here. This is a really good deal on a Microsoft Surface. This is their MacBook alternative that Microsoft makes. So this is the Surface 4. It's a 15-inch touchscreen laptop. The display is 2496 by 1664, so it's a high resolution monitor, bet higher than 1080p. Comes with an AMD Ryzen 7 4980U, only 8 gigs of RAM, which can be upgraded, a 256 gig SSD, and it is running Windows 10. So this is a couple of generations old. Obviously, you can upgrade it to Windows 11 for free. This normally this thing was $1,400. Again, MacBook alternative. It's on sale over at Woot, which is an Amazon company, for $539.99. So pretty nice computer here. It is new. It is not refurbished. New for $539.99. Pretty good deal. Nice slim build on this thing as well over at Woot. Next up, here's a 70-inch LG. This is a 4K ultra high definition television. It does run LG's Web OS. That's the smart TV built in. So it does not have Roku, does not have Fire. It's the LG Web OS. Most folks are probably going to throw a Roku or Fire Stick or something on this anyway. Normally $648 on sale for $498. Save $150 on that. Next up, I know Spence has had something similar to this, and in depending on what you do and what your use cases are, these things can be super useful. This is an Asus Zen screen. This is a portable monitor. It's a 15.6-inch monitor. It is USB-C, and why that's relevant and why that matters is it's just one cable, right? You don't have to connect this to any sort of external power source. USB-C will provide the power for this monitor, so that you can connect your device to it. It does not have HDMI, so it is just USB-C. So hooking up a game console or something to it, you're going to have to find a way to adapt. And I don't know that you can use a. I'm not sure. I presume you could use a USB to HDMI adapter if it provides power. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to do some research on that, depending on your use case. But for any laptop or phone, this is a great little device here. Normally 140. It's on sale for $99, available over at Walmart. Katie, have you seen these things before? These filament dryers?
I have, and I have my own ghetto version, which is a drawer. I have a dresser, and I just throw a bunch of packet of what are those beads in there, and
Yep.
then just throw my filament in there, and it dries it.
So, for individuals that might be 3D printing in a non-climate controlled area, for example, me, I have my 3D printer out in the garage, which is not heated and cooled, and all of my filament is brittle and breaks now because it's not climate controlled. So if you're in a case like that, this is a pretty cool little device. And yes, there's a lot of DIY things that you can do, but if you're not interested in that, this is a two spool filament dryer. And the nice thing about these, Katie, is you can actually feed from the dryer. So they have feed holes at the top, so you can keep your filament in there and feed it directly from the dryer. You don't have to worry about pulling it out and then putting it back in when you're done, which can be a huge pain. Um,
Nifty.
so this will keep two different spools at a good humidity level so that your filament doesn't get all brittle. Normally $70. It's on sale for $38.97. So you're saving 44%. And this is available over at Amazon. So if you're into 3D printing and having some filament issues, this is a pretty good way to deal with some of that. That's on sale over there. Next up, a Brother printer. It's not a great discount, but this is a great printer. This is the Brother HL L2325DW. This is a black and white monochrome laser printer. So you're not going to be dealing with ink and multiple cartridges. You're going to get toner. You're going to get a toner and a drum. It does support duplex, and it's also Wi-Fi. So you can put this on your internet at home, connected to your home Wi-Fi, and print from your cell phone, from your computer, from your laptop, or plug in via USB. Um, on sale for $99 over at Walmart.
Hold
Next
on a
up,
second. I
yeah,
got a Brother printer, like a big one for
uh,
Christmas, and it said it had Wi-Fi. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll set it up. And it would not connect to my Wi-Fi. And I'm like, why is it not connecting to my Wi-Fi? I did it on the machine. It was like, it was so confusing. I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. And then when I was like looking at the thing and it said I had to connect it to my computer directly for the first install,
yes.
uh, for it to do the Wi-Fi stuff. And I was like, what? So
Yeah, to make it
luckily,
talk to it. Yeah.
luckily I already had a cord. So one of those USB to whatever ports, I don't even know what they're called, but it was like a different port that and I was able to hook it up, but they didn't come with that cable, and I was like, well, dang,
Hmm.
good thing I had this extra thing laying around, or else I would have been SOL. Anyways,
Some
continue.
of
Okay.
the new printers can be done. You set them up via a smartphone app. I've seen that. HP does that now, and then after it sets up through that, then it will connect to the Wi-Fi. So just yeah, be wary of that over at Walmart. Let's see. Next up, this is a pretty simple little thing. It's a simple little HDMI switch. Two inputs. Excuse me. This can be set up in two different ways. It's bidirectional. So you can use it for two inputs to one output or one input to two outputs so that you get some different use cases with this depending on what you're using. It is bidirectional. So you can set that up if you want to mirror an image to two devices. That's great. If you want to switch between a game console, two different game consoles, you can do that as well. $7.98 over at Amazon. A really good deal. Plus, it supports 4K. It is only 60 hertz, so if you're hooking up a video game console and you're trying to do high refresh rate gaming, be mindful of that. But pretty good little device there for $8, a bidirectional HDMI switch. Next up, Apple AirTags. These are on sale, and I like to include them every time they are on sale. You can get a 4-pack of the AirTags for $79. So pretty good deal on those. That's available over at Amazon. Pretty good price. Man, I can't believe how cheap these are. This is a USB-C flash drive, so it is only USB-C. You'll have to have a computer with C to use it. 256 gigabyte USB-C flash drive for $20. 20 bucks. It's amazing how cheap flash storage is now. And the USB-C drives are obviously a little bit smaller because they don't have that large USB type A connector on the end of it. And it's a Samsung. And it's on sale at Amazon, B&H Photo, Samsung's direct website, or Crutchfield. So click the link in the specials for that and buy at whatever retailer.
Interesting, Nick, is
sense.
that's the biggest one, but they have a 64 and a 128, but they're only a few dollars difference.
Exactly, it's not even
So,
worth buying.
yeah.
I was gonna put all three of them in there, and I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. If you're gonna spend $17 on a 128, just get a 256 for $20 and call it a day.
Yeah, I'm actually ordering
So
it now.
I
check
s-
that out over
I
at
s-
Amazon.
I
Yeah.
still remember sitting at the studio, Spence, at 850 and talking about that they just coming up with a 64 megabyte flash drive, and it was over $5,000 years and years ago.
How many did you buy?
Yeah, keep going, Nick.
All right, couple quick things and we'll round it out here this morning. This is a really nice dual monitor stand. I've got kind of the old school style one where it's a vertical pipe that you mount to your desk, and then on top of that, you essentially get a straight. The arms come straight off of that, so it's kind of like a almost kind of like a cross that it builds, and you hook up the monitors, and that's great. But sometimes getting the monitors exactly lined up can be kind of a pain in the ass. These are nice. Both of these are independently adjustable spring stands. So you can really hone in on where exactly you want your monitor placement. You're not quite as locked in. This is normally $60, $67 over at Amazon. It's 59 bucks on Amazon. Plus, there's a $10 coupon, and then there's also a promo code, another $15 off at checkout. So you can get this two monitor arm stand. It'll support monitors between 13 and 30 inches for $35. Really cheap for this. And when I looked at this on Amazon, this is the number one bestseller in computer monitor arms. So this specific brand and model is the number one bestseller. It's got nearly 24,500 Amazon reviews at 4.6 stars. So if you're in the need for some new monitor arms, not only is this a good deal, but it's literally the one that everybody else is buying. And it's incredibly cheap. So check that out over at Amazon. Two final quick things. A 20,000 amp millihour battery bank. The cool thing about this one is it's got a magnetic charger built into the top of it. So if you are, if you're not, if you're in a situation where you're stationary and you're not moving around, you can just lay your phone on top of it. You don't have to worry about a cable dangling all over the place, and charge wirelessly like that. Or if not, you can also charge it via USB-C. It only has one port on it. It's a single USB-C port. So you charge it with that, and you can charge two devices at the same time. Lay one down using magnetic and plug one in via USB-C. 20,000 milliamps. This is normally $70 between a Prime discount, a 20% clipped coupon, and another promo code. You can get it all the way down to $32.84. That is available over at Amazon. And
You just need to warn the ladies not to put one of these in their pocketbook
why?
because it will erase credit cards.
Why will it erase a credit card?
Magnet.
Yeah, I
If you
I
put
would.
it there and it goes right against your wallet or whatever that's in your pocketbook, it will erase it.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's
Be
not going to
mindful.
erase it from 6 inches away, but
Yeah.
but if it touches it, it will.
Okay. So keep that
Just
in
be
mind.
careful.
Yep, definitely. And then finally, Spence, I don't know if you've seen this thing yet. This is that they've just come out with this EcoFlow, which is kind of the leader
I
in
did. I
solar
just saw it.
generators.
I just saw it. Whole house.
Yeah. So Amnon, I'm going to. Could you switch away from specials and pin my video? Is that a possibility?
I would think so.
Okay, because I want to talk about this for a few minutes. Unless somebody else wants to do something else, I think this is kind of a cool little conversation.
I
Um,
just need to find the pin.
Oh, is that their own power wall?
so yes,
EcoFlow?
this is the equivalent to the Tesla Powerwall that Tesla sells, which the Tesla one is really cool. However, the Tesla one is kind of permanent. It's like installing a Generac at your home, right? You get a Generac installed, you sell the house, the Generac is staying with the house. You're not moving it. It's not. It's. I mean, you could, but it's really not practical. You have to move the generator. You have to move the transfer switch. You have to move the.
It's a
However,
big deal. I
it's a
got a
huge
quote.
deal.
I got a quote for it was $16,000 to install a Generac.
Yeah, and it's as expensive as that is, it would probably cost something similar to um to move it and then have it reinstalled at a different
Nah,
location.
you don't do that. Yeah.
Can you switch the video over? There we go. All right. So this thing is pretty cool. It kind of looks like a cooler almost, with this EcoFlow Delta Pro. So here's the device. You can see you've got kind of a 2-unit design here. The top of it is just an inverter. It's a very simple. It's kind of a dummy unit. Essentially just a power inverter, and it's got some plugs on it. The bottom part of the unit is the actual battery. And what they are doing here is, like Spence noted, essentially marketing this as a whole house generator, and it is. The Delta Pro is stackable, so you can connect. And now it's very expensive to do. I will note these things start at $6,000. But the premise and what they're trying to do with this, and you can kind of see in their little animation here. You put something like this in your garage. You get a transfer switch that it comes with, and then you have something, have a couple of solar panel arrays or something like that that feed the Eco Pro and charge it so it's constantly topped off. Then when you lose power or something is going on, you're able to feed your house with this. The base unit, the single unit right here, is about 6 kilowatt hours, which is pretty legitimate. Um, so yeah, it's pretty good there, and you can go from 6 kilowatt hours all the way to 90 kilowatt hours. Which, if you run the math on 90 kilowatt hours, you could power an average home for about a month. Now
Wait,
you'll have to invest
go.
probably $80,000 in batteries, but you could do that
This
for
this model, Nick, what's the base output for? I see it says 2.1 to 21 kilowatt hours output. Now,
Look
what
at
is
that
that in
picture.
watts?
Look at that picture. How much does that cost? Jeez.
So that whole picture, I don't know why. Oh yeah, here we go. So
No,
this
I'm
whole thing right here,
Wow.
that would be, you'd probably be the ballpark of $60,000 to $70,000
Yeah.
for that. It's not cheap, and this realistically, there's no reason you would need three of these. Again, you could power your house for a month. So why I put this in the specials is this, it's pretty cool, and they make a see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. So here's they show you the 15 units all stackable together. And what EcoFlow has done, which is really cool, is that they've made their own transfer switch. Which I'm trying to see if I can find. Here it is right here. So this is, you can connect three of these units into this, and it's essentially it's a power panel. It's a
Right.
transfer panel, and feed your house with uninterrupted power this way. Again, this is not a cheap unit, but you can see the use case here. You could have a shed that is not connected to your house, that you have some power tools in. Maybe you've got some 3D printers. Maybe you've got a little office setup out there. You could get one of these EcoFlows, put two solar panels on the roof that generate 500 to 600 watts of electricity a day, and essentially have that unit completely off the grid. And that's what some people are doing with this. I watched a video this weekend of a guy who's got a shop, a workshop that's disconnected from the rest of his property, and he's got one of these EcoFlows, and because it supports 240, he's able to run a welder and air pumps and things like that as needed, within the house, or within the shop. And I think he's got about 800 watts worth of solar panels that he's able to use to keep this thing topped off. And you might say, well, what? Just get a Honda 2000 or some generator. And yes, that's an option. However, the Honda 2000 is loud as hell. You've got to have it in an area where it's vented so you don't kill yourself.
Mhm.
And it's just generally kind of a pain in the ass. It's not ever topped off. You constantly have to put gas in it. This thing is set to essentially find a way to feed it with electricity, most likely solar, and just let it charge and let it run. And you can run things for days or weeks at a time, depending on your setup. So
When
pretty cool device.
when EcoFlow's big units started shipping, I saw a guy who was a YouTube guy build a studio in a shed in his backyard, completely separate, doing the same thing. He had two EcoFlows with two expansion batteries. He built an awning over the
8-bit
patio
guy.
out of solar panels, and he does his whole production studio is all covered by EcoFlow.
You're talking about
He does have other power, but he does run it off this independently.
you're talking about the 8-bit guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy out of Dallas that has got that set up, and it's really cool. Now
Yeah.
those are so I assume he's going to get one of these, and it'll really change his game on all of this. So this is pretty cool. Not for everybody, not the cheapest thing in the world, but in a certain use case, this thing could be very, very helpful and a lot more practical than having to rely, because there are a lot of people that do rely on external shops that are nowhere near commercial power. They do rely on generators,
Mhm.
Honda 2000s and little portable generators to power things in their shops or their external buildings. And this seems a whole hell of a lot more convenient.
Well, depending on what location you would want, if you're going to be an off the grid person, or you want to have say a cabin and there's no power available to your cabin, this is a great solution for that.
It's
It's
a
I
great
mean
solution, and you
the
could run something like a water pump or a well on something like this. Depending again, you have to calculate your capacity based on what you're using, but you get a couple of solar panels and just a couple. You know, you can most solar panels you can generate anywhere between 150 and 300 watts, depending on the size of the panel and the efficiency of it. So 2 or 3 panels, and you can easily generate at peak times 6 to 1,000 watts worth of electricity to keep this thing topped off, depending on what you're doing with it. So it's
well,
pretty cool.
I'm looking at their going through their screens here. It shows the base unit, which is the inverter and the battery plus the transfer switch. I don't know what the price would be, but 7,200 watt output.
Yeah, it's 7,000. It's
That's
$7,200.
that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
mine is I have the Anchor, and I have 2,700 watts,
Mhm.
and I have it in my dining room, and I got the second battery. I got that recently, so I doubled the time, but it's more than enough for me. It's so great, and I have a generator, but if I have an outage, I have two solar panels, 200 watts. I have 400 watts of solar, but it's portable. I have to set it up.
Yeah. Well, and
But
that's the other thing about this too. I mentioned, the whole home generator or that Tesla cyber station or whatever. This thing is portable. It's on wheels. So it's not meant to be, all right, I'm going to invest, $15,000 in this, and if I'm ever moving or I change what I want to do, I'm SOL. It's meant to be not only adaptable in the future by adding more units or taking units out, but it is by definition portable. Now, obviously, once you install a power panel on the wall, a little bit different, but you can very easily unhook that. And the big thing about these Spence is they support 120 and 240.
that's
So
good.
that's
Yeah,
the big
mine
one
does not. Mine
is
does
the
not do that.
240 output for heavy duty equipment, for washer and dryers, for furnaces, things that might require 240 to run. Um, so that's pretty cool. Um, so yeah, there's Lincoln specials for that.
This is the
All right.
part of the battery revolution that's coming, that's changing a lot of things. The LifePo
Big time.
batteries are a direct offshoot of car technology, and they are much safer than um, the original lithium chemistry stuff. And they can take a beating basically. So yeah, I'm happy with what I bought. It wasn't cheap, but now I have a solution. Every 3 months, every week, I press the button to see what the capacity is, and it tells you if you get down to a certain number, plug it in. And they say if you're not using it, at least every 3 months, plug it in and top it off. And it's so easy. It's like literally next to the hutch in my dining room. I can roll it out into the kitchen, plug in the refrigerator, plug in anything I need. So
Yep.
I used it camping, and I plan on taking it again this year when we go out with the RV.
It's a UPS.
It is a UPS.
Yeah.
Basically, a very smart,
Only,
very high capacity
yeah, high
UPS.
capacity. Absolutely. All right.
And it's also a interdimensional time travel machine.
Talking about
Yeah.
generators. Um, I got Hannah another generator, an 8,000 watt, but it's electric start, so she can start. And I went and I picked it up, and the person that I bought it from, an elderly lady, um, she said they bought it new at Lowe's, and they never really plugged it in. They never used it because they didn't need to, because all the electricity is on the ground and all that.
So they
Um,
only use it for church on Sunday.
no. And she said that they would plug it in and start it about every 30 days.
Oh, that's great.
and everything on the generator still, all the chrome and everything is on the engine. It's all clean. You see that it wasn't used. I mean, even the muffler is still new.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to start it with the switch, and it just clicks real loud. So I said, "Well, it's probably the battery." And she said, "Yeah, we tried, and it wouldn't start anymore." So I pulled the rope, and it started one time. Everything's nice. So I pay him. I put it on the trailer. I come home, and I tried, and I put a jumper on it. Nope, it just clicks. So testing and stuff, it turned out that the solenoid was not passing the power to the starter. But if I shorted the two big bolts, starter came on and everything works. So I went ahead, Amazon, next day, I ordered one, $11.
Uh,
Here comes the thing. I opened it. It's an old piece of equipment, old part, rusty mounts.
oh,
Somebody returned it and put the old
Somebody
one in
returned
there.
it and nobody checked it, and it was
Yep.
still in the box like that.
a
So I
lot of
said,
this stuff
okay.
gets a lot of this stuff gets returned to Amazon, and they just put it on pallets and they sell the pallets off to people.
Well, that's
They don't
apparently
even
what
look at it,
happened.
and then people
But
come back and resell it. Yeah.
but I said, well, I mean, during that time waiting, I actually took the solenoid apart. It had 4 rivets. I took it apart and saw how it went together, and I realized that when I got to the end of it, the contacts were completely black
Wow.
on the new one. One of the contact, one side, was completely black. I don't know how this happened. I mean, because you look at it and it's brand new. I
I'll
don't know
tell
if
you. I'll tell you what happened. So somebody bought the part
no, no,
from
no, no,
Amazon.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about the one that came on the generator,
Oh,
the one
okay.
that did not work. This one did not work either. But the one that I opened, the one I had a day, so I opened the one that came, the original one, and the only thing I can think of is that they tried to start it with low battery, and when you click it and the battery is low, it just go krrrr, krrrr, and I don't know if that's what did it. I cleaned it off, I put it back together, riveted it, and it's working. But I said I'm not going to put it on because it's used. I'll just wait till
Riveted.
tomorrow when I get the other one. So that one didn't work either. I put it back in and I started looking locally because I can't leave it on the trailer outside. Home Depot had one that was, you know what? We don't need to get into this. I mean, what I want to talk about is Amazon sending you, mailing you a used thing. I mean, I solved the problem, but to get something like that, used, rusted,
Well, it's the person
amazing.
that bought it. This is what they do. So you bought a product in the past from Amazon. Let's say it's a clock or whatever, and you've had it for like a year and it stops working and you can't return it. So what you do is you buy that exact same item on Amazon that you have. You get you get the product. You pull out the new clock. You put your old clock in it, and then you return it and say, "Hey, I changed my mind," or maybe it doesn't work. And so everything weighs the same. Everything is kind of the same, except it's with the old product. So you get the new product, but you return the old product. And Amazon or whoever the vendor turns around and just resells it, and they don't open and check to verify. So that's what happened.
No, it was a pisser.
Hmm.
That's what happened with that.
John is talking about that the audio is not out there.
Yeah, I saw that. I asked him. He says
So
it's still
John,
out.
is
Yeah.
it? Oh, he can't hear.
He
I'm
said it was
wondering.
still out.
I
asked
wonder
him
if
a
it's
few minutes
okay.
ago. Let me check. I'm going to
I
go.
checked it on Twitch. It's fine.
Yeah, I
What, they
mean,
can't hear our beautiful voices?
no, I'm
Oh my
seeing it
goodness.
going out. It's fine.
That's
Yeah.
a travesty.
He needs to turn up his speaker, maybe. Anyway. All right. Millions of dollars have gone down the drain right when the Chicago public schools face a looming budget deficit. As a brand new CPS Inspector General report revealed, the district lost thousands of computers and devices in a school year. They just lost them.
Huh, maybe when that happens.
In all, more than $20 million were lost.
Jeez.
That wasn't lost. That was a plan.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
as
Also,
about
it's Chicago.
students failed to return 77,000 laptops and other electronic devices within a year. This is even though the district spends millions to track such devices. The underlying concern is that taxpayer dollars will be used to replace them. You get a computer and you don't return it and nobody can do anything about it?
It's Chicago.
Sheesh.
They have all kinds of problems. Speaking as somebody whose family lives in and around Chicago.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Here is something encouraging. Touch screens are going hands-free.
Interesting.
And it's not a touchscreen anymore.
Yeah, what is it, a hologram?
With a new device that allows users to scroll through smartphones using only their tongues.
I
saw this.
MouthPad, they call it. A retainer-like trackpad chip that sits on the roof of the mouth made its debut at the Consumer Electronics Show last week.
Is this something for
It
accessibility?
can sense tongue movement, allowing users to scroll, type, make calls, and even play chess with a swipe or a click of their tongue. It is a mouse for your mouth. Corbin, who is a software engineer at Augmental, that's the company that created the device. They created the MouthPad to be a helpful tool to those living with disabilities, especially those with a hand impairment or paralysis. It connects to any tablet, phone, or computer through Bluetooth. This is amazing.
Yeah, that's a game changer for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
What if you have a lisp?
You just moving your tongue, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you're talking to it.
I know, I realize, but I'm just saying if you have a lisp, it usually means that you have some kind of a motion thing
know.
with your tongue.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, wait, I only meant to order one of those, not 100 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, Spence, come on. Jeez.
Well,
oh. All right.
well, I got
Okay.
me one of them 256 drives coming.
Here's
nice.
here's another thing that came out of CES. A startup called Rabbit sold out of its first batch of Pocket AI companions a day after it was debuted at CES 2024. The company announced on X that it sold 10,000 units in just one day. Said when we started building R1, we said internally that we'd be happy if we sold 500 devices on launch day. In 24 hours, we already beat that by 20 times.
I want to know how that's different than the Chat GPT app on your phone.
I don't know. Here, Rabbit introduced the R1 during CES on Tuesday, which comes with a small 2.88-inch touchscreen that runs on the company's own Rabbit OS. It uses a large action model that works as a sort of universal controller for apps. This allows it to do things like play music, buy groceries, and send messages through a single interface without having to use your phone.
Oh,
It
that's kinda
also
cool.
lets you train the device how to interact with a certain app. A second batch is available for pre-order from Rabbit website with an expected delivery date between April and May 2024. So it's kind of like an interface to control AI, basic things that you can do with it.
No,
Yeah.
you just get the Reader's Digest and order one of those jitterbug phones.
Jitterbug.
Remember those?
Yep. They
The
still have it. What do you mean remember? They still have them.
yeah, they still have it,
Yeah.
and that's kind of an all-in-one screen. I mean, it's
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
it's $200.
What? The R1 or the
Rabbit
Jitterbug?
R1 $200.
Wow.
199.
Those of you that use
oh,
go ahead.
something about CES. Wanted to mention this. The Telly showed up.
Oh, there's something else
Yeah.
about Telly here.
Yeah.
Let me see. Where did I have Telly? The company giving people free 55-inch 4K TVs as long as they are willing to live with persistent ads on the second screen is previewing a Hey Telly voice assistant that will be based on OpenAI's ChatGPT, at least at first. Users will interact with it on the TV's second, the lower screen. And the company says it will come to know and recognize the Telly owner. Watch it, Spence. Over time and offer personalized recommendations to users. The company didn't say when the feature will be available. The existing SoundHound powered voice assistant is limited to more mundane tasks like setting timers, changing picture modes, or answering simple questions. So you have a voice activated thing that you can.
I don't use it.
Okay.
I don't use it. But
Telly.
they did send an update to the beta
All right.
agreement to
So-
say that they are going to start using proximity detectors to
Okay, that's
tell
all.
when there's somebody.
That's all vaporware. When it
Yeah.
happens, that will.
No, but they say that it's happening now. So
Oh.
it's but it's part of the new the beta just got updated. So there was a new one you had to agree to continue.
All right,
I
so
need to
Telly-
contact them again. There's a couple more bugs I want to point
Say
out.
they also say that Telly also says other household users can opt to have the chatbot personalized to them, offering the example of a chatbot that knows you're on a vegetarian diet and keeps that in mind when you ask for restaurant recommendations. So if you're vegetarian, it shows you vegetarian restaurants. If you're not, if somebody else, it'll do it the other way. It's interesting. And they just doing it's a multi thing. I mean, it's not just the TV anymore. And on the same, go ahead, Spence.
Oh no, I was saying that so far my use of it, I noticed that for about 4 or 5 days there were no advertisers showing up. I don't know what's going on here. It's just it was working and then it stopped. But there's a few little annoying things that it does still. Like when you first turn it on, both screens come on, and you go to the HDMI select because it does not. It'll start with the Telly home screen on the big uh, LED, and you need to go ahead with the remote and go into the bottom screen and go to select input. So you select the input you want. In this case, it's a
Well,
or
I'm
Roku.
sure people that don't have it on it, I'm not following you. Do you guys
No, but I
follow?
mean, the point is that there's a glitch in the way if you go to select your input, it starts the screen up. As soon as you press the remote to control that streaming device,
Mhm.
it goes back to the telly screen. And I don't know why.
Oh,
So the second time you do it, it stays. But I'm going to mention it.
yeah.
I mean, there's still, I understand it's still beta. So
So, well, the same thing about this one. They do different thing. X, social media site, announced it would begin rolling out a peer-to-peer payment service similar to Venmo or PayPal this year. A feature the social media site's billionaire owner Elon Musk has long pushed as part of his plan to develop an everything app. X officially announced the new feature in a blog post, touting the new service designed to enhance user utility and new opportunities for commerce. The company did not give a time frame on when the new device would be available, but Musk previously told ARK Invest CEO it could launch as early as mid 2024. So now it's going to be, oh, well, go ahead and X me.
I think too, maybe people will start making shop pages like TikTok Shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like TikTok implemented it.
Oh,
So I wonder if that's the direction they're going, and it's less about like a pay to pay person, but more of like setting up a marketplace.
obviously, he wants to do an everything app. He wants it to do everything.
Well, then they would be able to get a percentage of the sales too, so that would be a business
Oh, I'm
decision
sure.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't don't you have to pay for using Copilot? Isn't it a paid thing?
What's Copilot?
Copilot is the Microsoft AI thing in Office or actually in
Uh,
Windows.
no. Well,
I
I
thought it,
know with Microsoft, you pay for their AI stuff when it comes to business stuff, like automating your systems, or I don't know if
I think I
like
was reading that they decided that it's going to be a paid uh, feature. But now, here's Microsoft has started testing a change to Windows 11 that will see its A powered Copilot feature automatically opens when Windows starts on widescreen devices. The change is being tested as part of Microsoft's latest dev channel preview of Windows 11, allowing Windows testers to provide feedback ahead of a broader rollout. We are trying out opening Copilot automatically when Windows starts on widescreen devices, with some Windows insiders in the dev channel, says a Microsoft blog post. The company doesn't make it clear what exactly a widescreen device is.
yeah, I hate when things automatically launch whenever I start my computer. It drives me crazy.
Well, you can always turn it off, you know.
I know I turn off everything, but then whenever there's an update or whatever,
Yeah,
they sneak it
yeah,
past you.
yeah.
It's just something that's super annoying.
But the Windows 11 setting itself says Copilot will automatically open when you're using a wider screen. So I'm assuming he says this is limited to ultra wide monitors and less traditional desktop
I wonder
resolutions.
I wonder if this is like the Bing thing with their AI, because when you open up Bing, the AI stuff is all the way on the side and it shows up. Uh,
They use
and
Copilot with
That is Copilot.
okay,
Microsoft and
well
Bing is
maybe that's
Copilot.
maybe
Yeah.
that's what it is as they don't want it to be super intrusive. So if you have a really wide
yeah.
monitor, then it won't be as crazy.
As long as they don't charge for it, it's fine. And Bing, no, Bing they don't charge. But I swear I read somewhere that said that when they released it, they decided it's going to be a pay. Maybe there's a different. Maybe there are different levels of it.
That's
Um,
usually what AI companies do. The free version is fine but slow, and so you can pay for the paid version or faster.
Katie, what about that Unity thing?
Oh, Unity, man, they're doing layoffs after layoffs after layoffs. I don't know anything about it other than they say that they're restructuring the company and trying to focus. And I think they made some questionable business decisions a few years ago, and now they're cleaning up shop, I guess, from their point of view. They say they're gonna try to focus their company back on what uh what their main business model is, I guess. But man, it sucks for those 25% of the company. And
Yeah.
yeah, I wonder how much they've laid off over the past like 4 years, because we're constantly hearing about Unity layoffs, and it's like, oh, 9% of the company, 10% of the company, 13 of the percent, 25. So like, what's that math if you add that all up? It's like they've laid off 75% of the company. I
Interesting.
don't know.
Yeah. All right. HP has used its dynamic security firmware updates to create a monopoly of replacement printer ink cartridges. A
No.
lawsuit filed against the company on January 5th claims. The lawsuit, which is seeking class action certification, represents yet another form of litigation against HP for bricking printers when they try to use ink that doesn't bear an HP logo. The lawsuit, which was filed in U.S. District Court in Northern District of Illinois, names 11 plaintiffs and seeks an injunction against HP requiring the company to disable its printer firmware updates from preventing the use of non HP branded ink. The lawsuit also seeks monetary damages greater than $5 million and a trial by jury.
Trial by fire.
HP was wrong to issue a firmware update affecting printer functionality, and users were not notified that accepting firmware updates could damage any feature of the printer, the lawsuit said. Yep. Uh, but they they sell the printers real cheap,
Yep.
and then they get you with the ink.
Yep.
Well,
I
sell the
hate HP.
printers for more money and let people do whatever they want.
Yep. One of the reasons I switched to the Brother LaserJet,
Yeah.
because HP is such a pain in the butt.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, um, Nick, you said that they did away with AirPlay. What is AirPlay?
What I didn't say that, and no, they didn't.
Oh,
What are you talking about?
what isn't AirPlay something to do with printing, or is that Air something else?
No, that was Gal mentioning something about Google Print. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, Amazon introduced a new feature that mimics Apple's AirPlay while
Yeah, AirPlay's for sharing media. It's got nothing to do with printing.
Oh. While working across different platforms, setting the stage for iPhone and Android users to wirelessly stream video to its TV hardware.
Mhm.
The feature called Matter Casting is part of a push by Amazon to create interoperable services, an alternative to the proprietary technology developed by Apple and Google. It will make it easier for iOS and Android phones to send video to Amazon devices, such
That
as
would be nice.
well, they introduced it, such as Fire TV boxes and sticks, as well as the Echo Show, Smart Display. The feature will work with a range of other video services, including Plex, Pluto TV, Sling TV, Stars, and ZDF. So that's nice. I mean, to get something that will work with multiple, that's pretty nice.
I used to had to get an app on my phone in order to do casting to like Google and so on.
Yeah.
It's better. It's a little better now, but it still isn't. This will help a lot.
We mentioned the thing last week that the Netflix now with just one, you can't share the password, so two people cannot use it. And Hannah was saying, I just need to bring it up on my phone and cast it. That doesn't count. So if two people are using it, all one of them has to do is cast it from their phone to their TV, and I don't know why it doesn't count, but there must be a reason.
Maybe they can't tell.
I obviously, but why I don't know. You're still
Yeah.
logging into your account. Yeah.
Well, even if it shows up as being used, they don't tag you for using it on your phone, on your mobile device.
Apparently not.
Because obviously it's a mobile device, right? You can't be locked in your house with it.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
but
that's
maybe
what
that
it is.
casting doesn't show up as being outside. That doesn't matter
I don't
because
know.
it's a mobile device.
I don't know. But the thing is, she said, yeah, that works because she doesn't get that notice. Here is something that is hard to believe. According to an analysis of U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistic data, the U.S. added a mere 700 IT jobs compared to 267,000 the year prior. 700 jobs, IT jobs. Yet, while layoffs have generally kept IT job growth flat for the past year, 2023 net 700 comes despite more than 21,000 IT jobs being created in the fourth quarter.
Don't tell that to that local school that sells IT
Yeah.
classes.
There is still a surplus of
Computercareer.com.
Yeah, that's it.
There are ads all the time on the radio.
Yeah, you could be a computer
There was
as little as
also
90 days.
there was an article that said that people that took computer engineering, not computer science, computer engineering, are saying that jobs are becoming less and less available. That
I'm
it's
sure.
not.
Well, yeah, because they've been pushing it for years.
Yep.
So they're gonna get flooded with candidates.
Yeah.
That's not surprising.
But it's amazing that there was only 700 jobs added to the economy, IT jobs. Yeah. After removing the feature with Android 5.0 in 2015, Google appears to be bringing back lock screen widgets in the next version of Android. There haven't been any indications since then that Google would ever bring this feature back. But after Apple introduced widgets to the iPhone lock screen in iOS 16, many speculated it was only a matter of time. So they're going to do it.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
Widgets.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. All right. I think that's enough stories for today. Unless anybody has anything else to add, go for it.
Negative.
The what?
Negative.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Oh, I do have to. I've just found out that they have an update to the multimedia entertainment system in my car. And if I pull into my driveway and connect the car to my Wi-Fi, I can download the update.
Do you have a USB-C on the outside of the car?
Yeah, no. What it says is you go in, it tells you the
should be
steps to
able
take
to.
on the
Yeah.
screen
Yeah.
and connect to the Wi-Fi.
Right.
So he said, to pull in your garage, typically the signal will be strong enough, depending on where your garage is.
Yeah.
It should be fun.
All right. Well, in that case, it's this time of day, guys.
Time for lunch.
Huh?
I said time for lunch.
Yes, it is. Almost.
Yeah.
Okay, well. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Katie.
No problem.
And Spence. And Gal. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And change any same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily political talk, commentary. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave and listen live, or you could go to the recordings later on at nickcraig.com. And Nick and Brian also do the Infection podcast on Twitch. That's for gaming news, survival games, and so forth. Just go to infectionpodcast.com and find out when the live show is going to be during the week, or you can download the podcast from there. Infectionpodcast.com. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.